Thank you for watching the Shakaama Live Show with your host, Shakaama. So somebody was trying to pretend that the Occupy Wall Street was a grassroots effort and that it came about because of the will of the people. Well, the true will of the people is the Libertarian Party, which started the Tea Party, unbeknownst to a lot of you about the Tea Party, and the growing concern about how large the government is getting. There is not a grassroots effort in the United States that proposes that the government, the federal government, should be larger and introduce thousands upon thousands more regulations on businesses. This is a report on who paid for and founded the Occupy Wall Street movement. ACORN's front group, the Working Families Party, has been paying people to participate in the increasingly violent Occupy Wall Street protests in Lower Manhattan, according to award-winning investigative journalist Matthew Vadum. Calling ACORN the left's premier astro-turfing organization, Vadum told WND that protests calculated to create the illusion of public support for a cause can generate large profits for their organizers. ACORN founder Wade Rathke openly embraces violence, terrorism, and computer hacking as means of achieving what radicals call social justice. And ACORN has been running a lucrative protest for profit program for decades, said Vadum, author of the explosive new book Subversion Inc. How Obama's ACORN red shirts are still terrorizing and ripping off American taxpayers. Vadum is a senior editor at Capital Research Center, a think tank that studies left-wing advocacy groups and their funders. His book is the product of nearly 3 years of research and hundreds of interviews. ACORN, which has been restructuring itself as dozens of new organizations since filing for Chapter 7 bankruptcy in November of 2010, has acquired great expertise over the years in manufacturing so-called grassroots protests. ACORN is also no stranger to launching violent assault on its target, he said. In recent years, two radical left-wing billionaires, Herb and Marion Sandler, the founders of World Savings Bank, gave ACORN affiliates close to $11 million to generate street demonstrations to protest their competition in subprime mortgage lending. The New York City-based United Federation of Teachers reportedly paid ACORN $500,000 to organize protests against their charter schools in Manhattan. This is a video of one of those so you know videos. This is so you are not ignorant of the fact that the Occupy Wall Street is simply a branch of ACORN and their violent paid for demonstrations. People who think that it's a real grassroots effort, I'm talking about Wall Street, are simply out of the loop. They are associating themselves with an organization for hire that is meant to terrorize US-based companies, be they political or be they private. Now, there's one viewer in particular who I felt that he was really heartfelt and sincere in his arguments against me making a video targeting the Occupy Wall Street movement. But I'm here to tell you, it's not real. The real movement was and still is the Tea Party movement. The Tea Party movement is not one single movement. There are libertarian Tea Party communities. There are Republican Tea Party communities. There are even establishment Republican Tea Party movements. How weird is that? The Tea Party is not one single monolithic organization or group or community. The mainstream media tries to portray the Tea Party as one solid group, and they really are not. If you can imagine, Ron Paul was met with quite a lot of criticism from the Tea Party. It wasn't the Tea Party, it was the Libertarian branch or the Libertarian Tea Party community. And he spoke about it. He said that he was not libertarian enough for that community of Tea Partiers. And of course, it's true. It stands to reason. He's running under the Republican brand. He's siding with Republicans on certain issues. Yes, he is not a full-time 100% libertarian. Now, I'll leave it to you to decide whether or not somebody could be full-time libertarian, but know this, there are libertarian candidates who have won office and have been in office for years at various levels of government. The mainstream media would have you believe that the libertarians have never won or are nothing to even be considered. The Libertarian Party holds more seats, more offices than all of the other third-party groups combined. Just so you know. So now you know about the Occupy Wall Street. I hope this should settle it. I would hope that anybody involved in it would break away from it, because it is potentially dangerous and you could potentially be put on a list that you do not want to be put on, i.e. a terror watch list. Be very careful about that sort of stuff. You might think you're joining some sort of grassroots organization and it's all a political sham. One person against another person way up in the ivory tower in some boardroom somewhere. Thank you for watching the Shakaama Live Show.